Well, hey there, everybody. We're live. Look at us go. Hi, Carrie. How you doing?
Hey,
I like the glove, by the way.
hey, there's a story behind this glove. This
Okay,
glove is
well,
from, well, we'll talk about it.
yeah, I was gonna say, but tell me the story. That's awesome.
Okay. Well, I was digging through some stuff and I found this. And this is a glove that I had gotten back in, I'm thinking like 82 or 83 before going to see Motley Crue.
Nice.
And so I thought, I'm going to wear this glove periodically just as a signature thing. You know, Michael Jackson had his glove, right? So I have mine.
Yeah. Remind me to tell you about the Michael Jackson show I saw in Vegas when I was there a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
his glove came into that a lot. But anyways, hi Bruce. Nice to see you. Bruce is
Hey,
here.
Bruce.
And Josephine is here. Hey Josephine. Nice to see you too. But yeah, the purpose of our show today is to kind of update everybody on what's been going on because we did several lives together, I don't know, months ago. And then
We
it's like, I
did. We
haven't seen
did.
Carrie. And then I'm like, I just need to email Carrie and get her to come on with me because, I miss you and I kind of want to know what's going on. And I have some newer developments in my life that I thought my viewers might want to hear about. And I thought maybe you had some too, and we could just kind of tell what's been going on.
Sure.
So yeah. So I went on vacation to Las Vegas. It was the
Ooh.
longest trip we've taken there. So it was a whole week. We were there from a Sunday to a Sunday. And did I stay carnivore? Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yes, she
um,
did.
I did. And when I came home, I was 2 or 3 pounds heavier, but then that sort of went away. I don't know if it was just inflammation because with traveling, I always kind of get that. But I stayed and I ate restaurant food, right? You're eating
Yeah,
restaurant food. Who knows? Who knows what kind of
true.
stuff might be in there? Oh, there's Pixel.
Hi,
She she
Pixel.
she came just for you, Bruce. You can see her tail, right? Is she gonna do it there? Right there. She sits and looks out the window sometimes when I go live. So yeah, so my husband, he's very I don't want to say like he's very tuned in to like the way that I'm eating, and he really tries to take care of me when we do stuff like this. And so he got a hotel room with like a little mini kitchen in there. And I
Nice.
kid you not, I brought my bacon and eggs with me. So every single morning I was able to cook my own bacon and eggs, which I mean, to some people that might sound like a pain if you're on vacation, but it's more of a pain to me to like go down to your car, like go somewhere, are there seed oils, like have that whole conversation. I would rather I had my own kitchen, my own fridge, my own stove, just cook up some bacon and eggs. On some days he joined me. I
Mm-hmm.
had my butter. I brought my Kerrygold butter. I had my heavy
Mm.
cream, and yeah, it worked out really well. And then for dinners, yeah, we went out to a variety of restaurants. Now I was quite concerned because my husband loves this Mexican place called Javier's, and it is more of a high-end Mexican place, but I have found up to now that although I love Mexican food, it's like the most challenging for me to find something because it's not a lot of them don't have like burger patties, which is usually my go-to move if I'm out and I'm not going to have a steak. But this place being high end did have a steak, and I'm not kidding. It was a ribeye steak, and it was one of the best ribeyes I've had at a Mexican restaurant. Like, who
Yes.
knew? And he wanted to go there twice. So the first time I was like kind of having a bad attitude, and I was like, I know you like this place, but I like wasn't happy. And then I got my steak with butter on the side, no less.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very happy to go back a few nights later and have that steak again. So yeah. So and then we ate at like a really fancy steak place called Jean George. Next time I
Ooh.
do that, I'm gonna go ahead and get the Wagyu. I should have just gotten the Wagyu. I didn't. I got the ribeye, and it was good, but I was like, I can't believe I paid all this money for ribeye. I should have just gone all in. I should have just gone all in and had the Wagyu. So I said, you got to take me back here so I can do that.
Reason to
um,
go back.
that's right. And then we did a Brazilian steakhouse one night, which
Mm.
that's every carnivore's dream. So I actually got full. That was the one place where I actually got full, because a lot of times you're paying restaurant prices for a steak and it's like 12 ounces. And so even with the butter, it was like, I mean, I was okay, but I wasn't like completely, if I'd been at home, I probably would have eaten more. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
was able to
comfortably stuffed.
comfortably. So I was not
Comfortably
comfortably stuffed. I was like, after 12 ounces, it was like, okay, I'm okay. And I'm able to go to the show that we're going to go see and whatever, but I'm not feeling that comforted feeling of being not like, oh, that was a meal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it worked out. I was a little bit nervous just about the Mexican restaurants mostly because I just haven't found much success there so far. But yeah, I was able to get that ribeye, and then between the fancy steak house and the Brazilian steakhouse that he took me to, yeah, it was a great trip, and it was the first time I think I've been on a vacation that I wasn't all obsessed with, like the food, and because I was just like, well, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And I mean, it all worked out, and I wasn't worried about, I'm probably going to gain 10 pounds on this vacation. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
because I just did my thing. It was pretty good trip. So
Oh, that sounds awesome. I haven't
yeah.
been to Vegas in 7 years when my son and I did a road trip across the country, and we ended up at the pier in California, so we
Nice.
followed the whole route and then came back. But we did go to Vegas. We were kind of boring. We just mostly walked around. I mean, we spent, let's see, I allowed myself, I think, $20, and my son had like 10. And after he spent about 5, he said, "This is stupid." And so I don't think I ever have to worry about him becoming a gambler.
Oh, you're talking about gambling. Yeah, it's so funny. I say Vegas and I forget about the gambling because we don't gamble. So
Yeah.
yeah, we did this much gambling. We don't, it's about a 4-hour drive for us. It's 4 hours, and you can I mean, there's great food. The hotels
Oh,
are
yeah,
nice. There's
shows.
tons of shows.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the kind of stuff we do. We don't go there for the gambling or anything like that. So I was like, oh, she's
Yeah.
talking about gambling. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people go there to do that.
Yeah, so we just basically
But
walked around. We saw a couple of shows and just more of a relaxing thing and just experiencing the vibe than anything. But we have a friend who works for Harrah's, so she got us a room at the Harrah's downtown or in Vegas, and so we just walked around and just enjoyed the sights and everything. It was super cool. I
That's
really liked
awesome.
it.
We stayed at one of the newer places that's called Vidara, and they've now built bridges. So you like if you want to go to Bellagio, it's like an inside bridge where you don't have to even go outside because it was like 110 degrees when we were there.
Oh. Mhm.
But yeah, it was just a bridge, and then same thing to the Cosmopolitan. So it's just you can go see other places and just kind of walk there without having to go outside or go on the strip. It's just it's very quick.
Mhm.
It was super cool. So you have your glove on and you reference Michael Jackson. So last thing about Vegas is we did see 3 shows, but my favorite one was the Michael Jackson 1 show, which is Cirque du Soleil.
Ah.
And it's kind of, you can't really explain Cirque du Soleil because it's weird, but like a fun weird, but it's weird. But basically, they took 4 of his iconic things, which is his glove, his glasses, his hat, and his like the white socks and black shoes. And there were 4 characters, and they each sort of inherited one piece of one of those things, and then it kind of went on this like storyline. So one person, and they kind of got like Michael Jackson superpowers when they got that whatever their item was, kind of a thing. And it was kind of like a sword in the stone situation. Like the item kind of picked them, and then it was cool. But at one point they had a full-on 3D hologram of him like performing and dancing. Like it looked like he was there. It was really cool.
That's cool.
It was really cool.
Well, maybe I have some Vince Neil superpowers.
There you go. There you go.
Or Rob Halford superpowers.
Okay. So that's one thing. I went on vacation and I stayed carnivore and I wasn't stressed about my diet and I didn't really gain. I mean, like I said, 2 or 3 pounds. I think it was inflammation because it came right back off. And that's the first vacation I've had where anything like that's happened. So that was super cool. So how about you? What's an update? What's something exciting that's happened to you since we last talked?
Well, let's see. I got a promotion through work.
Yeah.
And so it was a bit unexpected. My manager asked me to submit my resume, and so I did. And then she told me what they were going to ask for a salary. And I was like, kind of had my doubts, but I was like, well, okay, yeah, sure. That'll work for me. And lo and behold, I got the position. It was effective on my birthday, March 1st. So the day job has been kind of intense. I still enjoy it, and I do most of what I already do anyway, but I've been spending time training the person who went into the position that I vacated. It's not the exact same position that I was in before. They reclassed it. They do stuff like that. But anyway, so thank you, Bruce. So yes, so I've been involved in that quite a bit. Something a little bit off the subject. My son is an engineer by trade, but he works on vehicles. And I may have told people in the past, but he also, like, for example, he and his friends, they will, for example, take lawnmowers and they'll soup them up like go-karts and race them. Just for an example, that's just one thing. Well, there is a thing that's held here. Well, it's in a little town outside of where I live, and it's called the Redneck Rumble. And it's actually kind of a big deal in the car world. Like grease monkeys from all over the region will come and they compete in various categories. Now, my son competed in a category called the Knot Rod. And a friend of mine actually called the car that he did, he called it a Mad Max car, because you take cars that, like, you might have a body, but then you have an engine and a transmission that belonged in something else that's not normally compatible. And so you have to work with them to make them fit. And your budget has to be under $3,000. And they have to be roadworthy. There's all these conditions. And then, like, on the day of the show, you actually drive to checkpoints and they make sure that the car is operational, roadworthy, and all that. So, to make that long story short, I mean, there were a lot of veterans who participated in this, people who actually do this stuff for a living. And my son won. He won it.
Wow.
And it
So
was
is it like a big trophy, a medal? Like, what does he get?
The trophy is actually, it's kind of funny. It's like car parts put together on this
Oh,
trophy.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
neat. Yeah. And so they called it the Knot Rod. And so he is going to be on the cover of Grease Monkey magazine. And he got some kind of a monetary award. I'm not sure how much it was. Maybe the $3,000 to cover what he spent on the car. I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, I was just so proud of him. It's just amazing that he can do these kinds of things. And then now he found a Denali that had engine problems and transmission problems and got it for a really good price. And so he's almost got that finished for his wife.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool that he can do all that work himself.
So I'm going to get him to do my next vehicle.
Seriously, I was just going to say, now that he's going to wrap that project up for his wife, what about you?
Yeah, what about Mom?
That's right. Well, speaking of Mom, my son went keto in February. I don't know if you've seen me talk about that yet, Carrie, because I think that was after the last time we went live together.
Uh-huh.
And, he's 15. So when they're that age, you can't just say, this is what you're going to eat, like you can when they're 2, right? So, I mean, you got to have some agency from them and some choice, because they have a lot of freedom. And they go to school, and all the school lunches and breakfasts are free. So, like, I don't have to put money in his account to go get, like, he could just go get pizza or whatever, fill in the blank. And don't get me started on what they serve at schools, because it is not good, you guys. But
oh yeah, because I got something to tell you related to that kind of thing.
Okay.
Later.
So yeah, I said we had tried everything for his diet, everything for his ADHD, and I mean everything except for diet. Right? Diet was the thing we didn't try, because not only does he have ADHD, but he has texture issues because he has sensory integration processing, and it's not just with his mouth with the texture; it's all 5 senses are jacked up. Basically, he gets overloaded easily. Like if he hears something, or if there's too much going on visually, like it's just really hard. So yeah, we didn't try the whole change your food thing, because food has always been a struggle. with this kid. But I just, in February, I had been doing this for a year, if you count my couple of months on keto, because I was keto from February to June.
Right,
And so he'd seen me, right? And he'd seen me have more energy, and he'd seen me like go to all of his, he was in the school band. And so the football games, and, so it's every football game I would be there, even though it was past my bedtime. Right. And I was there with energy, sitting by the band and not caring what happened with the football game, but going, yeah, go band.
That's right.
Dancing
Go
with
band.
the songs. That's right. And so he saw me just doing all this stuff. He saw me sprinting, and all this, doing all this new stuff, that I never would do before. And so I said, because I had started hearing about, this keto diet and brain health, from Dr. Palmer and Dr. Eid. I've read Dr. Eid's book now, but that was after I put him on the diet. And I'm in the middle of Dr. Chris Palmer's book, Brain Energy. Because I wanted to find out why this worked so well for him, Carrie, because can you believe that within the first week, all of a sudden he was coming out of his room with like kitchen-sized trash bags full of junk, because I stopped fighting the clean your room battle when he was about 8 years old, because he just wouldn't do it. Like I would do it, but then he would be like, no, you can't throw that away. No, you can't throw that away. And I'd be in there for hours. And then next thing you know, it looked like a tornado hit it again. So it was like, there was no point. And you'd say, clean your room. And we had all kinds of advice from the counselor. Just tell him once, like clean up the Lego. Just like tell him one thing, because he has ADHD. Like, nope. Telling him one thing at a time. He just would not do it. About a week in, he just starts coming out. He's coming out of his room with like these trash bags full. And I'm like, what is that, Zach? And he goes, oh, I'm cleaning my room. Like nonchalantly, like this was a normal.
I know.
Like it was just normal. Like I'm just cleaning my room.
That's awesome.
And I think he had about 18 of them, 18 kitchen-sized trash bags full, because he was like legit like a hoarder. I feel like he had his little pathway where he could go, but it was like just under the bed was full, the closet was full, every corner was full, in front of his dresser, because he never put his clothes in there. I stopped doing it. I'm like, why? They'd be just kind of on top of the dresser, kind of whatever. I mean, it was crazy. Hi, Kit, by the way. I saw you come in. So that was like the very first thing, and then it was like the stuff that he didn't want to throw away, he was like tired from cleaning, but he organized it into categories and put those into bags. And about a week after that, he took those out of the bags and then set up his room all nice, and then he did another day where he cleaned out the whole closet, like a few weeks after that. And so now his room, and then one day after that, it was like his room was getting a little messy. So he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to clean up my room today. Like he told me, I didn't tell him.
Wow. That's miraculous.
So it's miraculous, right? And it's like, you don't even know the World War III, like fights we would have over like when he was really little. Clean this up. This is a pigsty. This is, there's like old food. There's, because he'd get stuff from, like the kids at school for Valentine's Day. And he's not the person that's going to eat all that candy or whatever. And then it would just be sitting in a corner somewhere for months and months and months. I'm like, you need to like this stuff is gross that this is here, and he would just refuse. And then he just cleaned it all out one day.
Wow.
And that was the first thing. And then the next thing is, I mean, we would fight every single morning trying to get him out the door to school. Every single morning, we would both be very angry. But if I didn't keep my anger on the inside and not let it show, like we were never going to get anywhere, because when you are angry, he doesn't like, when I was a kid, if my parents were like, showed that they were disappointed and upset with me, I'd be like, oh no, like I better behave. Like they're mad. Like he doesn't have that reaction. You're angry, and then he gets angry and he like ups it a notch. So it just does this. So you have to, as the adult, right, choose to stay calm, which is very stressful and not easy to do. And that would happen every single morning. And I would get to work feeling very frustrated. And then, because I was late, because he was late, because he was, and he would blame me like it's my fault that he's late, even though I woke him up, I made him breakfast, I, gave him, we got this many minutes left, like countdown. Where's my socks? I told him where his socks were, but it's my fault he's late, right? And so, yeah, I'm like, dude. But yeah, all of a sudden it was just like, he was just like on time for school. Like there's a time where he's supposed to be in the car and he would just come out and his butt would be in the seat. Like at the time it was supposed to be in the seat in the, in the car. And I was like, and then one day he was 3 minutes after the time and he goes, just calmly goes, sorry, I'm so late, Mom. Not
Wow.
why did you make me late? It's your fault I'm late. Like, sorry, I'm so late, mom. Like,
That
what?
is incredible.
I know. So, I mean, there's a lot more stuff, and I'm actually going live to talk about more about this with Alia tomorrow at 5 p.m. So I don't want to get, and plus we have other things I need to talk
Yeah.
about here. But
Well,
I mean, that's just a few of
I
the
want to
things.
watch that. Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
watch that for sure because that is just incredible. And I know that's going to be helpful for so many people. And of course, most of us probably have heard of the magic pill. And
Mm-hmm.
that really, I've actually had some friends that I had shared that with because,
Yep.
and implementing a diet is hard,
Yeah.
especially initially. But I
Yep.
think one key is, and you are very fortunate, of course, partially, maybe he did it, maybe in his mind, your son's mind, you know, maybe he was old enough to reason through it and try and decide to try it. With smaller kids, I guess the younger the kid, you can kind of start them off that way. But when they're kind of in that in between age,
Mm-hmm.
that's when it's the toughest that
Yeah,
I've
they will
seen.
just because they'll throw fits. I watched a magic pill and I saw how she threw fits about not getting her goldfish and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, he just decided he was going to do it and he just hasn't looked back. I originally said just 30, will you try it for 30 days? And he said yes. And
Hmm.
then after the 30 days, I'm like, so you want to keep going? And he said, yeah. So you can tell, even though he's a teenager and he has to like play everything cool, um, the fact that he said yes tells you that he's experiencing things in his own brain that he's feeling
Hmm.
good. He must be, because if he didn't like it and it wasn't serving him and he didn't feel a benefit from it, he would have said, nope, I want to go back to eating my, cookies and whatever, pizza and all that stuff. And I find too that the longer he does it, the more he will ask for meat. Like I started him off with like replacement foods, which he still eats, like chicken nuggets that I make
Yeah.
with ground chicken instead of like the Tyson chicken nuggets in the freezer set, like stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
And now he's like, "Can I have some picanha? Can I have some chuck roast?" you know, he asked
Yes.
for he asked
Yes.
for that. Yeah. And he's like, we went out to dinner the other night with my family, my husband's family, for his mom's 70th birthday, and the two of us ordered a la carte burger patties. Like he got cheese on his, and I had mine plain, and everyone else is having their whatever they were having, full on burgers or tacos or
Hmm.
whatever they were having. And there we are with our plain patties. He was good with that. I even said, I have my little salt. I said, here's the salt in case they're not seasoned, but they were seasoned. So it was fine.
You ought to
But,
get him his own little Redmond's thingy,
yes,
his own little shaker.
yes.
And
Maybe
he'd
that,
have
maybe
his
that'll
own.
go in his Christmas stocking this year.
There we go. There
That
we
was in my
go.
Christmas stocking last year. So I need to pay that forward and put
Yeah.
that in his this year. So you wanted to say something about school lunches because those are terrible. What was your
Well,
input on that?
it kind of relates just to the status quo. But through my employer, we have this incentive program, and a lot of companies do this to where, for example, if you go for your physical, you might get X number of dollars, like as a bonus. And if you check in every day with however many steps you walk or how many reps you do or just whatever physical activity you do, then there's another reward for that, and so on. And so I had not signed up for this. It wasn't mandatory, but
Mm-hmm.
a very nice woman called me and caught me at a weak moment, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I can use $250. I'll sign up for it. So she sent me a link to this, to where I could set up an account and to take what's called the real age test.
Okay.
Now, I had already told her before we started all this, I didn't really say, yeah, I eat carnivore. I didn't put it that way. But I did say that I'd eliminated sugar, I eliminated grains, I eliminated, sodas, I eliminated seed oils, so I basically gave her a list of the bad things that I don't eat. And I mean, pretty much all that was left was meat, right?
Right.
So anyway, she didn't really say anything about that, but she did, she gave me the link to the to the real age test. So immediately when I logged in, I was like, oh, geez, this is the same old, same old. I mean, they haven't evolved in 40 years. It's like, how many servings of grains do you eat? How many servings of vegetables? How many servings of fruit? And they did do the how often do you exercise and that kind of thing. But then what is your cholesterol? So I admit a part of me at first thought about fudging, but then, I thought, I wonder if they use this data, de-identify it, and use it for studies. If they do, I'm going to tell the truth because I bet you I'm like in the top percentile of people my age in health. And it would be good for them to know that I'm like this and eat all meat. So I did. I filled it out truthfully, the whole thing. So then we finished, and you'll never guess what my real age is.
Okay, so first tell us how old you are.
I am 58.
Okay, so we're like 10 years apart, like pretty much exactly then, because I'm 48.
Yeah, I'm
okay,
58.
So you're 58. Okay, and your real age, based on all that information that you told the truth about,
is 62, ladies and gentlemen.
Sure it is, Carrie. Sure it is. None of us believe that. You mean with your 0 CAC score?
Well, they didn't ask about that. They didn't ask about my fasting insulin. They also didn't ask about fasting glucose. They didn't ask about my A1C.
Interesting.
Isn't it? I'm going to bring that up the next time that coach calls. That would be very nice and sweet to her. But you want to hear what makes me old?
Yes. You're not eating enough whole grains. Let me guess.
Oh, I'm sure you can guess all of them. But
more fruits and veggies, they said. I'm guessing.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, let's see. Let me get to it. Where'd it go? But yeah, you're basically correct. Dang it, I should have had this pulled up before.
That's okay. Carnivore Kip says that we don't look a day over 30, so I'll take it. I put it up on the... Thanks,
But
Kip.
yeah, basically it said what made me old was my high cholesterol. That I know the cholesterol one was at the top. Then it was I need to eat more whole grains, which I eat 0. So I guess I do need to eat more, right? Eat more veggies, eat more fruit, vary my diets. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not doing all that stuff. Don't eat red meat. Yeah, definitely that ain't happening. So, yeah, I'm 62.
Well, gosh, that'd be interesting. I bet because our cholesterol numbers are about the same. In fact, I have to put this comment up here because I totally agree with this, Carrie, because we would win. We would win the prize. We would win the money. If it was a monetary reward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're both lean mass hyper responders, right? So our cholesterol is nice and high up there. But I did something this morning. I did a thing, not a big thing, a little thing. I was doing some cleaning around the house, cleaning out some cupboards because I had an Amazon delivery and I needed to make room for some of the stuff that had been dropped off. And I found this blood pressure cuff machine thing that my in-laws had bought for my husband years ago as a gift. And it's still hermetically sealed in the box. He never took his blood pressure, not even one time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my blood pressure because I've been eating a ton of meat and a ton of salt, a ton of salt. I mean, I salt to taste, right? But I know I'm eating a lot more salt than I ever did before this way of eating. Right, I mean, maybe not. I mean, because the processed food, tends to have a lot of sodium, but I just put the salt on, right? And until it tastes good,
Mm-hmm.
And then I take electrolytes that have sodium in there too. So my blood pressure this morning officially was 104/63.
Well, there you go.
High, a lot of salt, at least in me, N equals 1 and all of that, does not raise my blood pressure. But interesting to note that every time I've ever gone to a doctor's office, it's more like the 120/80. It's the standard number, but because you're nervous when you're in there. I'm nervous when I'm in there.
I have found that to be true for me. now it used to be when I would go, they would take it like 2 or 3 different times to get it down to like, and usually it would be like 130 over, I don't know, 85 or something. It would be like after the third time they took it. Lately, they've only been taking it once, and it would be something like 119 over 77 or just whatever. And then at home, it's even lower than that, because back a couple years ago, I had some flexible spending account money left over. And so I went ahead and just bought like stuff for a first aid kit, and I bought like a glucose tester and the strips and all that, and went ahead and bought a blood pressure cuff. And so periodically, I don't take it every day, but I do periodically take it. And it'll be like 111 over 70 or something. It's just,
yeah.
My blood pressure is just chill.
Yep. Chill. There you go. My blood pressure is chill. That's right. So, like I said, that was, the only time I've taken it not in a doctor's office, like in my entire life. And I was just kind of sitting on the couch, relaxing, and I was totally relaxed. And I thought, I wonder, I'm gonna open up this thing and do that, and just out of curiosity. And yeah, nice and low, feeling good. Like, I was happy about that. So that was just a new piece of data that I hadn't had before. And while we're on the topic of data, you said glucose monitor, and it reminded me that I've never tested my glucose with the finger prick. I had the A1C done once 6 months ago or 8 months ago or whenever that is, more now, like maybe 9 months ago, when I had my blood work, when I found out my LDL is way up there. And at that time, my A1C was like 4.7. But before that, I'd never had an A1C. I've never done a finger prick anything. And so when I was at Hack Your Health in Austin, Texas, at the end of May and early June, the Keto Mojo people were there, and you could go as many times as you wanted. Like, you could just go there and they would do a test, and they would test your ketones and your glucose for you.
That's cool.
And it was cool. So it was the first time I had it done. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know my ketones, I think they were like 1 point something, like maybe 1.6 or something. So I was like, oh, okay. Cause we carnivores, we're not always, necessarily, chasing ketosis, but I found that interesting because I had never checked ketones, except when I first started keto. I had those like pee sticks just to see if I was like in ketosis, when I first started, to see like when that switch happened. And I was. I did get, obviously get there, but those aren't super accurate, and they're testing a different kind of ketone and all of that. And it's the ones you're wasting out of your body and all of that. And I haven't peed on one of those in a long time. Really long time, but I've never tested my blood ketones, but my glucose was like around 100, which is fine. But I was like, really, that much? Cause and I had eaten a few, like just before that, I had eaten a few, I'd eaten some keto brick, cause all the sponsors are there, and I was tasting things to see if Zach might like it. My son, Zach, who went keto. Yeah. I was like, cause I'm like, what do I put in this kid's Christmas stocking now? So I tasted some keto brick. I forget what else, like maybe a couple other things. I didn't go totally crazy. Right. But I did taste some things that normally on Carnivore, I don't eat. So anyway, I don't know. And like I said, that's the first blood sugar I've ever done, but I ended up buying a Keto Mojo. Like, after I got home, I ordered one off Amazon. And I tested a couple of times, and my blood sugar was like around 100, but not at a specific time. Like, I didn't, because it was just as the mood struck me. It wasn't like my morning glucose or fasting glucose. It was just like, I wonder what it is. And then I was like, whatever. But it was like around 100, and my ketones were lower. They were like under 1. Like, they were over 0.5, but they were like 0.9, whatever. But I had eaten, that kind of thing, right? Then the other day I was like, all right, let's do like a fasted. Like, I had been fasting for 18 hours. So I had eaten the night before. I hadn't eaten anything yet. So it wasn't like a first thing in the morning. It was like around 10 a.m. But I hadn't eaten anything yet. And I'm like, I just wonder, because I hadn't done it in a couple weeks. So I took it out, and oh my gosh, my blood sugar was 78. I'm like, okay, so fasting, there we go. And my ketones, I didn't have to go on a sardine fast or anything. I just hadn't eaten for 18 hours. My ketones were 2.9.
Wow.
So I was like, I guess my metabolism really does kick it into gear when I haven't eaten. Which leads me to another topic, Carrie. Can you believe, and I know you know because I did email you this, but for those of you watching, haven't heard this yet. I've been doing OMADs now for a week and a half and feeling good about it. Like not feeling like I gotta eat, like I like white knuckling these OMADs. It was like after I got back from Vegas, I had eaten 2 pretty big meals a day, a big breakfast of bacon and eggs, and then a steak, or like I told you at the beginning of the stream, Brazilian steakhouse, whatever. And I got home and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give this a shot again and see how it goes. And the only day that I ate 2 meals was the day that we went to that dinner with my in-laws that I told you about, because it was going to be later in the day. I didn't want to wait all the way till then. And I didn't want to have to order like 5 or 6 burger patties because that was just going to be expensive. So I ate a couple chicken thighs at home, a few chicken thighs, I don't know, 2 or 3. And then I went and had the burger patties at the restaurant later. But yeah, OMADs and feeling good. So maybe that's why. I don't know, but
isn't that something though, how you can just tweak and make adjustments to your body? And I enjoy doing things like that. And I'll go through these phases where, like, I've even got the home cholesterol testing kits.
Oh,
and
okay.
I went through
Are they accurate?
Oh, I guess they go either way, like around, I think it says like around 10% either way. So I mean, they're in the neighborhood, because also you yourself, I mean, you're the one who's handling it and doing it. And so I think maybe once you get more proficient at doing it yourself, because it's very similar, it's a cheaper version than the one that they were using. For example, when I went to CVS one time just to get mine tested, just for the heck of it. This was before I ordered one. And the one that they had was a nicer version of the one that I ended up ordering. And of course, this was a few years ago, so I'm sure they've got even better ones out there now.
Okay.
But
so, I mean, because I know you go to your doctors. That's why I figured you would know if it's accurate, because I know you have information from your doctor to compare. That would be interesting.
It was like around, and I would do the same thing like with my fasting blood sugar before I would go into the doctor's office, and that was usually pretty close, depending on how long I had to wait to go in to get my labs, because first they do all this other, especially if it's your physical, and they have you ask you all these millions of questions, and and depending on just how long it takes to get back, because, things change in your body. So it's not like I'm pricking my finger and then turning around and 5 minutes later, having the blood work. So, you kind of have to factor that in.
But it's quite variable, as Dave Feldman has proven. And so we'll get back to Dave Feldman in a minute, because when I thought of that, I thought of something else to share, but I have to put this up here. So Kip says, in honor of me, he is reverse searing a prime picanha tomorrow. Kip, I'm very sad that you live way too far away from me, but one of these days I'm coming over so you can reverse sear a prime picanha that I can have, because picanha is my favorite meat. I even like it more than ribeye. It's just delicious. And someone else texted me, actually, Dr. Nelson. If you know Dr. Nelson, he's often in chats here on these lives, and he's been on a couple lives too. I got to meet him in Austin. He just texted me a picture of his Wagyu picanha, and now I'm like, I have to go find one of those and get it.
Wow.
Have you tried picanha, Carrie?
I have not yet.
Oh my gosh,
I need to do that.
Changed my life. It's changed my life. I'll make a picanha and eat. I'll make the whole roast. Like, I know I've converted Adrienne, my fellow Lioness Lifestyle host, Adrienne.
Yeah.
I've converted her. She loves picanha too, but she'll slice it off and just like air fry it as a picanha steak. She tried the whole roast, but she prefers that way, which that's fine. That's great. Nope. I make the whole roast, and then I'll eat my serving, and then I'll put the rest in the fridge, and then I'll take picanha bites to work, like when I'm teaching, like it's summer vacation now. But yeah, it's good cold, you guys. So I'll just eat my little picanha bites. I'm like, it's super easy to take for lunch. So I'm jealous, Kip. I have a picanha in my fridge too. I am going to cook it tomorrow. It will not be reverse seared though, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Well, speaking of Chris Palmer earlier.
Oh, yeah.
He is going to be at the Low Carb for Better Health in Tennessee, Christy.
Oh, I don't think he's going to be. So that's great that you said that. Are you going to go to Low Carb
Yes,
Tennessee?
we are going, and my
Awesome.
brother is actually going with me. My tall, skinny brother, who is actually he is keto slash ketovore, and he's
Okay.
working his way down to carnivore, I think.
Okay. Okay.
And
And is that because of your influence, like you being a lighthouse?
yes,
Yes.
I'm just gonna
Awesome.
say, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
So we go to a
So,
Mexican restaurant together about once a week, and they know us there, and so like we'll get steak and eggs, and then they give us instead of all the like what is it, the wraps and the the tortillas and the rice and beans, they'll give us each an extra egg instead, so
okay.
they'll let us
That's good.
substitute, so they're really cool.
That's
But
awesome. That's a good
yeah,
substitution. When is that going to be? Because I'll be going to Low Carb San Diego, which is in August, and I wanted to talk about that too. So when
this
is
is
Low Carb Tennessee?
August 23rd and 24th, so it's Friday and
Okay, so it's
Saturday.
I think that's like the week. So Low Carb San Diego is 4 days. This is kind of a
Hmm.
little bit of a longer story than just I'm going, but it's 4 days, and it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and like it's right when my school year is starting. So I
Mm.
cannot, like anybody, like I cannot. I'm just starting with a new class. I cannot take Thursday and Friday off, but because it's 4 days, it's $500 for the 4 days. And I was like, I just can't pay $500 and then not even go to 2 of the days. But like pulling back in Dave Feldman, Dave Feldman's going to be there. Like I got to meet Dave Feldman.
Right,
And
I
then
know.
Tony Hampton's going to be there, which he was not at Hack Your Health. So I already have met like Dr. Baker. I met Dr. Boz. I met Dr. Uh, Dr. Kiltz, and then Dr. Lisa Wiedemann. So I met all of
Mhm.
them, but I did not. Tony Hampton, Dr. Tony Hampton wasn't there, and he is going to be there. So I'm like, I want to go, but like $500, and I'm not even going to go for 2 of the day, like, you know. So my friend Rhonda at Carnivore Leo, she's
Yeah.
going. She's in Northern California, but she's flying down. She's making a vacation out of it. She was so nice. We were texting. She sent them a message and they said, "Oh, just go on, just our ticketing system won't do that, but if she goes on and PayPal's us $300, we will like hand make a ticket for her for just Saturday and Sunday." And I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
"Rhonda, you're amazing." So I will be going just for the Saturday and Sunday, and I'm hoping I get to meet the two people. But I'm very excited to meet my friend, my YouTube friend that I haven't got to meet yet, Rhonda. So that's going to be super fun. And after Hack Your Health, I'm like super excited to go to another low carb event like that.
Yeah, this one is going to be in Montgomery Bell State Park, which is it's about an hour west of Nashville in Tennessee. Gorgeous state park. They have a lodge there, plus they have cabins. And the actual event is going to be held like they have, like, for lack of a better term, like, ballrooms or conference rooms that they hold events in. And so the people who are going to be there, of course, is Dr. Berry, Amanda Decker, Nisha, Amy Berger, and I love her. She was one of the first people in the low carb space that I started following, like back, gosh, 8 years ago. And she
Oh,
has
she's awesome.
yes, she has a wonderful piece that she had actually written on Wikipedia called Vitamin J that is a must read. Somebody was asking
Okay.
about why depression and stuff is so common nowadays and stuff. And this was like several years ago when she wrote this piece. And I tell you what, you just have to read it. But anyway, then Dr. Mark Cucuzzello, Dr. Christopher Palmer, let's see, Roxana Sotomayor, and I know I probably butchered her name, but she's one of the coaches in Dr. Berry's group. Zane Griggs, which he wrote that book, Kicking Butt Over 50.
Oh, After 50 with Dr.
Yeah.
Berry, right? Yeah, yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
knew that name sounded familiar. Okay, cool.
Yep. And Tia Reed. So it's going to be. And the thing is, I mean, so there's two parts to it. There's a dinner Friday night. I sprung for that. because it's like supposed to be a little more of an intimate setting, the people that have the
Mhm.
dinner, and you can kind of talk and stuff with the people. The
Cool.
speakers are going to be at the dinner.
Oh,
And
that's
then the
cool.
next day is the lectures.
Yeah,
So,
okay. That sounds amazing. That sounds really good. I don't think Dr. Barry's coming to California. I can't remember because it was like 2 pages of people. So I think the San Diego plus it's 4 days. So I think the San Diego event might be a little bit bigger.
oh yeah, a
But
lot bigger. This
but
is a smaller event, and it's only going to be the third year that it's ever
okay.
been held. And so we went last year. My daughter and I went last year.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this year, my brother and I are going. So I'm
That's
just,
awesome.
yeah. So I'm hoping that Lynn from Midlife Carnivore can come. She's thinking
I
she
met
might.
her in Austin. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
really nice.
she
Yeah.
sure is. And then Kim from Carnivore Nurse Kim,
Mhm.
she is super sweet too. And
Yeah.
so I'm hoping that they might be able to come, they said. So I'm hoping that they
Okay.
can, because I would love to see them in real life.
Well, David, who came to Austin and is a great guy, is asking you what city in Tennessee. I'll be in Knoxville late August as well. Might be able to attend that low
It's
carb
like
event.
outside of Burns, it's west of Nashville. So if you're going to be in Knoxville, you're going to kind of be on the other end of the state. But I
Mm,
mean, you will be kind of in the general neighborhood. But Tennessee is long and lean. So this is
yeah.
actually like a little bit west, like outside of Burns, Tennessee, which is
Okay.
Dr. Barry's neck of the woods.
Okay.
But yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
oh, I would love to anybody. I would love to meet some of you, any of y'all. I would just love to see you in real life. I
I
think it would
mean,
be
it was
awesome.
so that Austin event was just it was my first event, my first meetup event, anything. Like I hadn't although I did go and just meet Nicole that one time. Like I just had lunch with just Nicole, former fat girl Nicole.
Yes.
But I hadn't been to a meetup with like several people or like gone to any of these low carb events. And I mean, it was just like it was sad on the day that it was over. It was so sad because it was all
Hmm.
these people, person after person after person that I've known from YouTube. I couldn't believe how many were there. And when I first signed up to go, I was on the fence and I didn't know anybody that was going to be there at all. And I was on the fence about maybe going. And then I heard that Limitless Lindy was going to be there. And then I was
Yeah.
like, well, then I have to go. Cause I'm like, if she's coming from Australia, then I can come from California. And I just really want to meet her. And so I'm going to go. And then after I made that decision and paid my money and all of that, it was like all these people started saying, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be there and I'm going to be there, And then, yeah, it just turned out. I mean, every few minutes I'd see somebody new until my mom came with me and she was like, what is happening? Because she knows nobody, right? It's just me, right? And she's just there to hang out with me because she's my mom and she loves me and she's awesome, but yeah, she was pretty she was like, wow. Like all the people
Yeah.
that were like, oh my gosh, Christy.
And
And
everybody's so friendly.
yes, and everybody was like how they are online. Like the people that I have talked to like this, like we're talking now, they were just like that in real life. So, it's like their real self that they're putting out there. And it was just great. And it's like I can't wait for the next Hack Your Health. But they moved it from Austin, which is sad because my mom's cousin lives in Austin and we were able to stay with her and not have to get a hotel and all of
Mhm.
that. But they moved it. That's going to be somewhere in Florida, and then it's not going to be in May. It's going to be like in August, which is or September. I'm sorry, September,
Oh,
which is just when I'm starting school. And like I already said, like it was easy for me to take 3 days off in May because like state testing was over. It's like I came back and I had 2 days, and then the school year was over. I didn't feel bad about doing that, but I feel really bad and guilty about leaving my classroom like that. You know, that early in the year. I just,
yeah.
it's really hard. But I think I'm still committed to do it because I had such a great time and I just don't want to miss it now. We went to meetups for dinner, like each dinner we went to, it was like a different, like big group of people.
Mhm.
I tried Korean barbecue for the first time. That was delicious. If you've never had Korean barbecue, that needs to be the very next thing you do.
Mm.
It was so good. And that was with like Nia. Nia organized that
Oh,
one, and there
yeah.
was a bunch of people there, like Carnivore Teacher and Carnivore Soldier and all those guys. And then I went to one that Cindy DeManch, and then like the Keto Chow people were there, and that was great. That was just like a Texas barbecue kind of place. And then the first night it was just my family. Actually, we just went to like a Brazilian steakhouse, because it was the first night there, and it's my mom's cousin, but I hadn't seen her for a couple years, her and
Mm-hmm.
her husband. So that was really nice too. So, I mean, I highly recommend it. If there's somebody that's like thinking about going, or if a place like even the one in San Diego, people say it's more geared toward like doctors, but anyone can go. But I'm like, but I just want to go because I know Rhonda's going to be there, and whoever's going to, like, I don't care. It was like such a great experience in Austin that I definitely want to go again. And Ellie is saying, you have to come because I'm going. It's in Tampa. Yeah, I know, Ellie. I told you I'd be there. I'm not going to let you down. I'm just saying it's a little conflicting for me because it's right at the beginning of the school year. And hi, Mike.
Hey,
Welcome
Mike.
in. Yeah. So is there anything else new with you?
Oh, let me think.
I have one more thing, but I don't want to steal the show here.
I can't really think of anything else that's exactly new. I have been collaborating with Lynn and Kim on a couple of book clubs. And one of them is actually a study group. And so we are actually studying this big book.
I am so curious about that book because I've seen it. It's like the ketogenic textbook, right?
Yes, it is. And we
like
are
Tim Noakes and a bunch of people.
It's going to take us like 20 years to work through it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, because you learn something, just every page is just gold. It's awesome.
So it's worth the like $100, isn't it? Like, it's expensive, isn't it?
It is. I think it's worth it. I mean, it's a great reference tool. Just anything that you can imagine that you would want to look up, any kind of a question, or just if you wanted to look up a study or just whatever. I mean, you would find it in there. Now, we are getting ready to start a new book for the book club, and it is Good Energy by, let's see, Casey Means, and her brother is Callie, who is the one who talks about all of the pharma and food manipulation. And so anyway, she had been a physician. She's got some great interviews out there in the YouTube sphere. And so she wrote this book just because she had gotten so just discouraged and saddened by the futility of just the fact that human bodies are reduced to parts. Doctors can go into such specialties, like I think like she was talking about, like there's an ear specialist, an ENT, that can actually specialize in an area where there's like 3 bones. It's just ridiculous kind of how we fractioned the body. So when really the body is one thing. So we have just started reading this book, and we are going to have our first discussion about chapters 1 and 2 tomorrow evening, and that is going to be at 4:30 Central Time.
Okay, well, there you go. Mike says he bought Good Energy and he might join y'all.
All right, do it.
That's awesome. That's a similar theme in like the Brain Energy book and Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind by Georgia Ede. They talk about how the whole like mental health, it's like they separated the brain from the rest of the body. And in their opinion, that's just ridiculous. And then they get into like all the mitochondrial health and just all of that stuff. But yeah, they're like, your brain is part of your body, people. Like it's all one big system, So yeah, so that's very interesting. So one thing that I've incorporated, and some of this isn't totally new if people have been watching my channel, but if you haven't been watching my channel, is I got a patch of grass in my backyard to do grounding. And because I heard a lot about grounding from a few people, and I thought I really want to do that. And the times when I would go out, like I went out one morning after I had done my walk and I took my shoes off and like stood on my neighbor's grass. They have like a side yard. I'm like, they're not going to see me. I'm just going to stand here and see what it feels like. And it was like within like 30 seconds, I just felt like calm. And I know that sounds like woo woo, and that is, I'm
No,
very
it
like,
doesn't.
but it was weird. I was like, whoa, I just felt like calm. It just felt good to be there. And I was like, oh man. And then it was crazy because my husband, who, at least right now, although it's looking like that might be changing, but at least right now he doesn't eat like me, but he had seen some stuff about grounding. And I just barely even mentioned it. And he offered to put in some grass in the backyard. He was like, yeah, I heard about that. It's supposed to be really good for you and all this stuff. And I'm like, awesome. So he put in this little patch of grass because we had ripped out we had grass all in the front and backyard, but it's so expensive to water here in
Yep.
California. Just for my little patch of grass, my water bill has gone up $20 a month. And we pay our gardener an extra $15 a month to like mow it. It's like a little tiny, it's tiny. Um, and so, but yeah, I've been going out there with my bare feet at either sunrise or sunset or sometimes both. Now that it's summer vacation, it's like, but I try to do like double duty. So get like my morning light, my vitamin D, or I guess triple duty, and my grounding, all at once. And my glasses turn dark in the sun, so often I'll take them off. I can't see, but everything's blurry. But it's my backyard. I kind of know where stuff is. But I get the light in my eyes, and I just sometimes I'll do like some squats or some lunges or some just stuff like that, or some stretches or whatever. Sometimes I'll just kind of stand there. I'll put in my earbuds and listen to some music. And it's been really great. And so, oh my gosh, I would highly recommend grounding, or at least try it, because I'm telling you, and there is some science behind it. Like, it's supposed to lower your blood viscosity and do all kinds of stuff. I don't remember all the things, but I just know I personally just feel really good. And then I kind of feel good, throughout the day when I've done that. So I've been really enjoying that one. A couple times I've taken Pixel out with me. She has a harness with a leash. She likes it too. So we'll go out there, but she wants to walk around and I don't let her. Then she starts to get mad. Pixel's my cat, for those of you that don't
She's
know,
like,
but yeah, but she's an indoor cat. And so she's usually just inside, but we do have a little, harness leash, because we'll sometimes take her out in the backyard like that. But yeah, she's like, ooh, she enjoys being on the grass and walking around. And yeah, it's just kind of fun and kind of just a new relaxing part of my day and a way to get in sunlight. But if anyone knows of a good natural bug repellent, I need that, because a couple days ago, 3-4 days ago, when I went out there, my feet got all bitten up by something that I don't know what it was. I didn't feel it at the time, but my feet were like insanely itchy for like 3 or 4 days, because I had like 7 or 8 bug bites on each foot. And that's the only down. And I've gone outside in my backyard, but I've stayed on the concrete, and I've like looked at my feet the whole time to make sure nothing is on them. So it's kind of sad, because I'm afraid that like my feet finally stopped itching. So I'm like, I don't want to go out there and get more bites. I had a pretty miserable few days how itchy they were. I don't know what it was. Something was mad. I was on their grass, apparently.
mm-hmm.
They didn't like me there. But anyway, if I can find a good natural bug repellent, I'll be able to hopefully keep those off of me.
I guess I do grounding. I mean, for one thing, I'm barefoot just about all the time. I work from home and I don't wear shoes. I mean, I just don't. So if I go out to the mailbox, or I go outside to take the trash can down, or if I go to bring the trash can back up, or I'll just go stand outside for a few minutes. And here's one thing too, for those of you who may wonder, I don't know, the two of you who may have watched them, it got difficult to do the good morning videos simply because the sun was coming up way early and lots of foliage. So you really couldn't see the sunrise. And when I take my walk, it was getting hard to try to time it to where I would be somewhere where I could capture the sunrise at the right moment. And I was like, no, I'm just going to take my walk, and then here in a few weeks I'll resume the good morning sunrise shorts.
Yeah, I like those.
I enjoy doing them, but I just can't, I just cannot capture a good sunrise because there's just trees and foliage everywhere. I mean, once all that fills in, you have to find a gap somewhere. You have to find, like, this neighborhood's got hills, but you have to really time it right where you're like up at the top of a hill where there's a gap between the trees where the sun, and it's just like, I can't time it.
Well, I didn't
perfectly.
watch them. I mean, I didn't always look for them, but they would often pop up in my feed. And so I mean, you might have seen me because anytime I watch something, I try to comment or at least like, but sometimes I didn't have time to comment. But you're just so positive and you're like, hi, friends, and like, love you all. And that just gets me like happy to hear your voice or happy Friday. And I'm
Yep,
like, yay.
yep.
Yes, it is Friday, actually, on those days. And especially when I'm working. So I hope you start them up again by August when I have to go back to work because those always put me in a good mood to hear your voice and see you say good morning.
Yeah, I think I'll be starting them again soon because I can already tell. I mean, it's just weird, but I mean, there's a part of me that's like summer's already starting to slip away because
Yeah, the
it's
days do
going
get
back
shorter.
again
Yeah,
now.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's true. We're past the equinox or solstice or whatever.
Hmm.
Solstice, I guess. Yeah, we're past that now. I didn't think about that, but and yeah, here we go. Mike is saying that the sound of the birds on those, Carrie, are amazing. Yeah. And
Yeah,
Bruce
we've
always
got
watched
some.
them too.
Yep, yep. I had a few loyal watchers, and so I wanted to try to find something there for a while. I was kind of doing like, this is what I'm eating for breakfast, but I felt like that was just, for one thing, that was kind of monotonous because it was pretty much the same old thing. It was like he's having burger patties with, you know, um, sunny side up eggs again with some beef
Well, but
bacon.
there was that time where you had sardines, and I was like, bleh.
I actually have been eating sardines for breakfast for the last few
Yeah.
days again this
See?
week, and I don't know. I'm on that kick again. I'm just on. It's
So
like my body wants them.
I did something, and now I'm like, oh man, because I was gonna do it, Carrie. I was gonna do the sardine thing because everybody was doing them, the sardine fast, and I met Dr. Boz too. And she
Ah,
was, she's the big sardine fast person, and
mhm,
now it's kind of been this trend, and a lot of people are doing them. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just do it, and I'm gonna do what they said. I'm gonna try mustard because I tried your hot sauce, and I do like hot sauce, but that just wasn't for me. I'm like, I'm gonna just
right.
do mustard, and I thought I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna mash them up so I can't see their little fishy bodies, and I'm gonna do it. And yeah, I ate one can. I ate the whole can, but
Okay,
no,
okay.
but no, I did not do the sardine fat. That's the only. I was like, I could feel the bone. I know they kind of dissolve right away. And I know you can get boneless, skinless, but I feel like at that point, the bones are gone. Like that's the calcium. I don't know. I'm like, so I have
It
all
is the
these
calcium.
sardines. It is the calcium, right? But I can feel them, and I just don't know. So I
Yeah,
have a
I
whole
understand.
bunch of sardines
I'll tell you what
that
I'm
I'm not going to
having
eat.
trouble with now, and I didn't have as much trouble with it initially. I mean, I had trouble. Well, the face I made when I ate them, I made funny faces both with sardines and with cod livers, but I was able to do cod livers, but the last time, and I only do them about once every other week or two. So it's not like sometimes it's 2, sometimes 3 weeks in between when I eat them. The last time I ate them, I don't know what it was. I mean, the texture has always bothered me to an extent. I got them down, but it was like, it's just like,
That's what I
what's
was doing with the
wrong?
sardines. I got them down,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was like kind of gagging and wanting them to come back out. Yeah, it was not.
Yeah,
I'm like,
so
no, I'm
I'm
not
gonna
going to do
try
this.
again. It's about time for me to try again on the cod livers because they've never affected me that bad. It was just
Yeah.
that particular time. So I'm wondering if maybe I just really was eating them thinking that I should rather than my body telling me I need them, if that makes sense. Because like usually because they don't taste that bad. They really don't. The cod livers don't taste bad. And with hot sauce on them, they taste pretty good. But it's a texture thing with them for me. And I can do sardines, no problem. Texture for sardines doesn't bother me. But boy,
Yeah.
it's like this like the stuff the kids play with, that goo or whatever, kind of it reminds me of that. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, I don't even think I don't even think I would try that. But yeah, I wanted to do it for like the omega 3s and like all of that, but
Mhm.
I mean, and I bought so many because in my mind I was so committed.
Ah, so
Oh,
you're what is it? You're your mouth wrote a check that your butt can't cash. Isn't that
That's it. That's it, Carrie. Yes, that's exactly it. And all these people like Mike, I've had several people like Ellie was like, oh, I would love the sardines. And Mike, I'm like, you guys all live so far away. I don't know anybody that wants my sardines. I want to give them to somebody. Here, take these. I don't know anyone that likes them. My dad, I think, did, but he's not around anymore. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I don't think my mom likes him. I could ask her. So speaking of my mom, she's doing fantastic. And it's so funny because we were in Austin together and we were taking a bathroom break and we were chatting on our way there. And she's talking about, yeah, for some reason, these knuckles have started hurting again, she says to me. Well, occasionally she'll send me pictures of her food, right? And I've just in my brain been noticing the levels of plants on her plate. Because, she's 71 years old. I mean, it is hard. It was hard for me to get rid of that, but vegetables are good for you, right? It's hard for me. And so I think, and she's not totally carnivore, right? She's meat-based keto. So she still does eat, some vegetables, but she sends me these things, these, salads. And it's like less and she goes, there's so much meat on this. And I'm like, I see so much veg on that in my mind, right? But when she told me that her knuckles had started hurting, I was like, Mom, and I just told her, like, your level of veg is too high. And it was so funny because this lady, just this nice, I mean, she was very nice and she does what I will sometimes do. And she just kind of entered our conversation, like this lady that we didn't know. And she was like, yep. And she starts mentioning all the like anti-nutrients in the plants. So we started talking and it turns out she's like a nurse and stuff. So I was like, so it's not just me telling my mom this, right? And so we were talking. So yeah, she's dialed her plant intake way back. So I'm excited to see in another few weeks, how those knuckles are doing. But I will tell you that at 71, do you want to know what she's doing with her time this summer? Because during the school year, she watches my nephews, nephew and niece, my nephew and niece, her grandkids after school. But of course they have summer off and you would think she would take the summer off being a retired 71-year-old teacher, but no, she's teaching summer school, Carrie.
Well, alrighty then.
So going keto or ketovore or whatever you want to call it has given her this energy to go and teach summer school.
Fabulous though. Isn't that so
fantastic?
Cool.
I mean, just wow. So all the things, she's one of the ones that 2 months after I started, she saw my benefits and she started. And yeah, it's like she just gets more and more energy. She walks more than I do. Now she's teaching summer school. So yeah, and her joint pain had gone away. But then she was like, these joints are kind of starting to hurt. And I was like, okay, get rid of the plants, lady.
Yes.
So, yes, I know, right? I'm like, I can tell you what, but I didn't want to just butt in if she wasn't having any problems. I mean, it's her life. It's her food. She can eat what she wants, but yeah, I think she didn't mean to do it. I think it just kind of, let me put some of this on there. Let me put some of that.
A little more.
Yep.
Next thing you know, there's one little nugget in the middle of the
right. Well, and then she had even like started putting a couple little like carrots, and I'm like, you're trying to be keto and you have carrots on your plate. Get those carrots out of there, because she still wants to. She's lost weight, but she still wants to lose a little more.
Yeah,
like, you can't be eating those carrots. So yeah, she did a major like overhaul again, and she's like, all right, I hear you. And so it was kind of funny because she called me the other night with a couple of, diet questions. And so I've sort of become the like little diet consultant for people around me that are eating this way, like my teacher friend from school that eats this way, and my son now, and my husband.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about your teacher friend.
Yeah, sure. She's keto.
How's she doing?
Fantastic. She's lost all of her weight. So she when we really started talking diet, she kind of went low carb first, and she lost 40 pounds and then kind of got stuck. And then that was at the point where, and I was low carb too. Like we were always like eating eggs and stuff, but I wasn't keto or carnivore at that point, but we'd always bring eggs to lunch and stuff like that. And we were both kind of always just kind of trying to keep our carbs down, but with no real like I don't know, no real knowledge, right? It just like carbs are kind of bad, so let's try not to eat them. Like that was it. That was like the extent of it. That was before I started back, February of last year, really like learning about how it really should be done. And so when I started that, I would get this information from Dr. Barry first, and then whoever, the other YouTubers that I found. And then I would like pass it on to her. And so she started making these changes and she lost her last 20 pounds. So she's like, I think 5 feet tall or 5'1", and she's down to like 124 or 5 pounds, something like that.
Oh, that is
Yep.
wonderful.
Yep. And
Huzzah.
she's your age. She's 58, I think.
Oh,
Or
wow.
59. So yeah. And so, yeah, you can lose weight at that age. She's not, the only exercise she really does is she has dogs. And so she walks her dogs twice a day, but she's not, she lost all of that 60 pounds, not like doing any major, not that you shouldn't exercise. I'm just saying if you're older or if you're worried like you can't lose weight or you have to exercise to lose weight or all of that stuff, it was just the tweaks that I learned, and then she got rid of some more things, and she's not carnivore, but I think she's keto. She's a little modest. She's like, I don't know if I'm keto. I think I'm still, I'm like, I've seen what you eat. She's keto. She brings like salami and cheese, for lunch and eggs and stuff like that. And she does eat some nuts. Although all of last year we had a kid severely allergic to everything, including eggs, but we still ate our eggs, but he was really allergic to nuts. And so she didn't eat nuts for the whole year, last school year. But yeah, she's feeling good about herself. Her confidence has grown. She feels like now she's gotten off the diet roller coaster. Like she knows she feels confident that she can maintain this weight. You know what I'm saying? And so we talk diet, we talk a lot of things, but we talk, frequently, and she'll ask me questions. And of course I've taught her a thing or two about plant toxins, and she'll remove things when I tell her about that, certain things, that are particular, like oxalates or whatever that may be, in a particular thing. But I think she's got it pretty dialed in now. And even like her kids came home. She has one that just got married, I don't know, about 6 months ago or so now. And her son is in college, and, they'll come home from time to time. And she's like, they were home for a whole week and I didn't like gain any weight. And, she's going out for dinner with them, and she mostly stays on plan, but like, she's like, I ate a cookie, stuff like that. But she's like, I didn't gain any weight. It's like, she's got it all dialed in, and she doesn't eat one cookie and then eat 12 more cookies. Yeah. In
other words, she can stop at one.
And that was like the first cookie she's had. Yeah. Well, that was the first cookie she's had in like a year, but it was like her son said, I'm coming home and I don't want you to like worry about your food too much when I'm there. Like he said that to her. So she was like, okay. And he brought her a cookie, so she ate the cookie. But she had an allergic reaction to the cookie, so I don't know if she'll be eating any more cookies. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah. I was like, well, you don't know what she's thinking. It was the macadamia nuts in there, but I'm like, you've had them before. I mean, who knows? I'm like, it could have been anything in that cookie. She's gonna go get some allergy testing. But yeah, I don't think she'll be eating any cookies anytime soon, because she was feeling like like she was swelling up. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, she's doing amazing. And then my son is doing amazing. My husband has been asking me, we've had major conversations about him just going low carb. So he's like, what does it mean to go low carb? He's not interested in ketosis. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Low carb is a great place to be, great place to start. If you're standard American, I don't even know. I mean, he's like, I probably eat like 500 carbs a day. I'm like, yeah, he probably does. Because he eats a lot of like saltine crackers, chips, tortillas, like all of that, ice cream, soda, all that stuff. So he probably does. So I was like, look, if you can just work on getting it down to 100 carbs a day and taking out the processed stuff, like all the processed stuff, you're going to be in a good place. But like, he has no idea. Like he looked on the back of the saltines and he was like, whoa, like how many carbs? Because he'll eat a whole sleeve. We're not talking like 3 saltines. We're talking a sleeve of saltines, right? He'll sit there and eat that, or popcorn or whatever it is. And so we've had a few like in-depth conversations recently about like what that would actually look like for him to do that. And I gave him that, 100 carb and whole food. And, he doesn't drink a lot of soda, but cut out the soda. He likes the sparkling waters, So I'm like, yeah, he's totally happy. Like, I don't think that's going to be a struggle. But I think he's going to keep in some fruit. Like, he loves bananas. I think he's going to like cut it down and just do like one banana instead of two bananas in
Mhm,
a day,
mhm.
but so he'll try to work that in. But I mean, that's a whole food. That's a fruit. That's better than a sleeve of saltines, right? In my opinion. If
Right.
you're looking on the what's less bad, I wouldn't eat a banana. But, if he's going from all the processed food to like eggs, bacon, a banana here and there, steak,
And
I don't know
everybody
what,
starts somewhere. I mean, like
everybody
way
starts
back when
somewhere.
I started, I basically eliminated, let's see, when I first started out, it was sodas,
Mm-hmm.
it was sugar, and seed oils. Those were the things that I was cognizant of. So it wasn't necessarily that I was totally low carb yet,
Right.
but that I started out by eliminating those things. And then just gradually, as I read more and
Mm-hmm.
just, really dove into things, and really reading like Weston A. Price, all that stuff really helped to, to look back, like Dr. Berry talks about, what was ancestrally appropriate. And as I got
Mm-hmm.
into like Mark Sisson, this was, like I said, in the early days. And then I just worked my way down, to paleo, and then worked my way down because paleo isn't necessarily low carb, but it is
Right.
cleaner eating. But
Right.
then I
Right.
just gradually worked my way down to low carb, and then, but keto, ketovore,
Mm-hmm.
carnivore. But I
Yep.
mean, it's
Yep.
been 9 years working, 9 to
Yeah.
10 years working my way down to that point too.
Yeah.
So
So,
everybody
we'll see.
starts somewhere.
If he can do it and stick to it and keep, I think if he just doesn't keep the stuff in the house, because he doesn't have a weight problem. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? And he doesn't feel super bad yet. There's joint pain and some things, but there's some things he wants to improve, like his brain fog and things like that. And so I'm like, I know for a fact that if he goes to like 100 and I told him 100 carbs is not a target, it's a limit, dude. So it's okay if you do 80. Like, don't think now I got to eat 20
Right.
more.
Yeah.
Like if you do 80, that's totally fine. So
Like,
I
oh
made that
crap,
very
I'm
clear.
20 short.
I'm totally sure. Yeah, he knows that there's no need for carbs. There's a need for exactly 0 carbs in your body
I
and all
need
that stuff.
20 more.
Right. I need 20 more. Yeah. I can go eat my whatever. Yeah. And I said, and just because you need that doesn't mean you got to, you think you want to go, now I can go do this. It's not, if it fits my macros, eat it. We're not going to do that kind of
Right.
deal. So it's like, just, if you're feeling full for the day, then stop for the day. As long as you've got your protein in, then that's what you need to focus on. So, but yeah, he's like never gone on a diet, like in his life, it's, he's like, maybe I'll drink a couple less sodas. Like, that's the extent of anything he's tried to do, so he's never dieted or anything. So I know and he's eating just anything he wants, right? Cooked
Mhm.
Oreos, ice cream. He eats meals. I'm not saying he has that for a meal like I did back in my, when I couldn't like starve myself anymore. And I'd be like, I'm having Oreos for dinner, he didn't do that. But yeah, I mean, for sure, every single night, there's some kind of a treat, maybe a dessert and a popcorn, like maybe both,
Mhm. Mhm.
or
Mhm.
whatever, because that's just, anyway. So I'm very excited. I hope he does it. And I think if he can stick to it for at least 30 days and just like stay on the path and not fall off, he'll start to stop craving some of that stuff. And,
Yeah.
hopefully it won't be in the house. And I'm hoping he's going to, I mean, I know he's going to feel better,
Yeah,
and,
and notice
and
a
then,
difference and maybe tweak it
mhm,
a little more, a little more.
yep, yep, yep.
Just
And so
work
I
his
just
way.
know work his way. So I never would have guessed, that he would do this. Um, he talked about it once before, but never did it. But this time it's like he's initiated long conversations. Oh, and he found a carnivore influencer that he really likes. And he
Oh.
spent this morning like watching some of this guy's videos. Like, this guy makes like they're not shorts, they're too long to be a short, but they're like 2 minutes long. And so he just has a bunch of these videos and he posts a lot. And my husband just really likes his style. So he's just been like,
Well, that's
just like
good.
watching. Yeah, I know. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and
so
there's so
so
many channels out there,
yes.
different personalities, different
Yep.
approaches. I mean, there
Yep.
is something for everybody.
Yep, absolutely. So, hopefully he will actually it's one thing to say you're going to do it and try to learn about it. It's another thing to actually make that switch and like get rid of all the junk and then start it. Especially for
Mhm.
someone who's never done it before. Like that's hard because he's for sure addicted to carbs and stuff like a lot of us have been in the past. Like
Oh
he's for
yeah.
sure, needs that. So Simpson, we're getting ready to probably wrap this up now, but I'll put your question up. Is your son still a carnivore? I talked a lot about that earlier. Sorry, this is my second live stream today. I've been live for like over 2 hours now today. But yes, he is, and he is doing great. In all the areas except for, schoolwork. He had to go to summer school for geometry and English. He did get an A+ in summer school geometry, however. Yeah, he can do that for short periods, right? And it's like a shorter day and it's like 4 hours and it's like crank it out and go home. He can do that. It's like the long semester where it's like do these 87 worksheets and he really struggles with complying. He can usually pass the test, but he just won't do his work. That's his struggle with his ADHD. So his schoolwork hasn't necessarily improved, but he was successful in summer school. He was doing an online class, also summer school online for English. And I need to go find out what he got in that. I think it just finished up. So it was a little bit longer because it was online. It was a little bit different format. So that's the only thing. It's like if he can just, and I like gave up that like dream a long time ago that my sons were going to be straight A or B students, because even though they're very smart and are mentally like they would be able to do it, I'm like, just pass, man. This is high school. You have to have a diploma. That's like, so yeah, it's like totally stressful for me when he's not passing classes, but just like my other son did it the same way. Dang it. When ended up having to do summer school, but he did graduate. So,
Yep.
and he's in junior college now. So my younger son he's heading into a sophomore year. And we'll see how the academics go because I think the longer you're on it, the more changes people tend to see. So I'm hoping that maybe something will kick in so that he can just pass so he doesn't have to do summer school and so that he can graduate and get his diploma. But in all the other areas, his attitude, he doesn't just get angry at the drop of a hat like he used to do. He's, like I said earlier, he's on time now for things. He gets ready. He finds his own stuff. He, all of that stuff. So yes, he's doing fantastic. So yeah, we talked about it earlier. And Simpson, tomorrow at 5 p.m., I'll be on with Alia and Rebecca Bovary. She's a nurse. So her son is autistic. And then my son is ADHD. And we're going to talk about ADHD, autism, and diet with Alia Wells tomorrow. But that'll be on my channel or any of their 2 channels too. So feel free to tune in for that for like full information. So, well, Carrie, this has been super fun. But like I said, I've been live. I went live with John, Carnivore Teacher, for his very first live. Like I had to show up for that. It's like his very first one.
Right,
So
of course.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then I came on with you and
I have enjoyed it so much.
Oh, yes, absolutely. This is
like old fun. Times, the reunion. Like old times. The reunion tour.
You were the first, you helped me get into live streaming when my channel was brand baby new. And I was like, I need help with this. Help. Can you I'll come on with you and you come on with me. And that was, you helped me get my introduction into live streaming.
That's right. So. You're my buddy.
Yeah, that's right. So, and right. I still use that soap you sent me. And it's almost gone now, but that soap is amazing.
I know. I'm going to get some more from her. Yeah.
If you get some more.
I'm requesting more.
Okay. I would love some if you can spare it. Cause that stuff is, I bought some and it's good too, but that stuff your friend makes is like.
It is. Yeah. She's got a gift for that stuff. It's the best soap I've ever used. It
is so good.
I use it all over my whole body. That's the only soap I use.
Mm-hmm. It's fantastic.
Fabulous. But she doesn't want to sell it. She just wants to do it as a hobby and give it away. So I'm like, okay, I'll take it off your hands.
Yep. And I'll second that and I'll pay you for the shipping because you shouldn't have to pay for the shipping. But my goodness gracious. Yeah. Fantastic. So yeah, that's great. And we'll have to do this again. Let's not wait another, I don't know how long has it been, 4 months or something, I think, since we did a live stream.
Well, we need to do another one maybe in 2 weeks. How about that? We'll just throw that out there right now.
Let's do it. In a couple of weeks, I'm pretty open. I don't go back to school till August. So yes, I'll still be around hanging out, doing the summer teacher thing. So let's do it.
All right. We will do one in 2 weeks.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you tomorrow. I will be on Carnivore Mastermind with Nia at 4. I did it again. I scheduled some things and then some other people invited me. So I've got 2 live streams tomorrow. So yes, 4 o'clock with Nia, Carnivore Mastermind, and then 5 o'clock with Alia, all about autism and ADHD and diet. And I hope to see some of you guys there. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
You all have a great evening and a rest of the week.